ladies! Again, I am so sorry I've had to cancel, reschedule, and then reschedule again. I do apologize. I had some family come unexpectedly, so excuse my crazy hair. We were out most of the day. So I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes, let a couple of you lovely ladies pop on. If you can't tell, I'm excited. Super excited. So I'm just so excited. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a couple minutes as I finalize my notes, and we're gonna be talking about the gentleman, or the man, or the devil at the crossroads. And just a little heads up, there is a bit of cross mythology in this, which is something that I've always found really fascinating. Mainly because in the American folklore, this happened in Mississippi, but there is one that actually got me started on looking into the gentleman at the crossroads, and it is actually from Germany. That's where I found most of my information, was a lot of Germanic. Forgive me if I said that wrong. Germany and their folklore, but it also comes from African folklore. So there is a lot that happens with cross mythology. This is just one of my favorite people to go over, or demon to go over. So since I'm already talking about it, I'm just gonna get started. So you might be wondering, well, how does the gentleman at the crossroads blend in with the fae? Well, he does, but he doesn't. Hi, Kathy. So he does, but he doesn't blend in with the fae. As I previously said before, he is a demon at the crossroads. So let me tell you why I wanted to go over this. So, as you know, the fae are from the liminal world, the spiritual world, things like that. And he kind of plays into that as well. With the crossroads, as you know, there are deities associated with it. There are many things that go, or many beings that are associated with the crossroad. For example, please don't butcher me, Kathy, for saying this. She basically, Hecate works and is associated with the crossroads, along with dark fae, and along with Hermes, which that one was a shocker to me. But so as I was saying, he's a part of the liminal world that normally comes over to the physical world. A lot of the times the crossroads, especially with fae, are kind of like portals. That's when most activity or supernatural activity happens, is usually on a crossroad. So as I said, he is from the liminal world, and basically, and this is why I picked him. So the man at the crossroads he is hard to explain. The reason why he is kind of lumped in with the fae is because he makes deals. Like in our lovely Crystals Live, the fae are very, very picky on how they do deals. You have to be very, very spot on and specific when it comes to deals with the fae. There is a story, actually a song that I grew up listening to when I first started with the fae. It is Changeling Child by Heather Dale. And it tells a story about a woman who wanted a child, and the Fae gave her that child, but it happened to be a changeling, and she ended up growing old while that child didn't. So it just goes to show how stupid specific you have to be with the Fae. Because normally a lot of the times the Fae will grant your wish or grant your deal, but it won't be in the way that you expect. So please, 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 if you make any deals with the Fae, please be careful. And that's what we're getting into today with the gentleman at the crossroads. He is all about deals. He is all about giving people what they want, but not in the way that they expect, because they're not as specific, or they end up selling, you know, their soul or something like that. So, as I said, he is part of a cross mythology. He was mainly founded in Germany. He also came a part of the American folklore around, I want to say 1901 to 1957 is when he stepped into our folklore. So, like I said, he is part of the crossroads, and he occupied the Ellis Island, the conjunction of thousands of roads for hundreds of thousands of people that were tired, desperate. A little bit of history: if you don't know, the Ellis Isles were part of the immigration into America around that time. A lot of Germany, I believe it was Germany, Ireland, Britain, and things like that. So before people were allowed to go into America, they had to go to the Ellis Island, which is where he started popping up in our folklore. So the Germanic lore says that you can become the servant of Darktalfen, which is what he was called in Germany at the crossroads, in exchange for getting your heart's desire. Darktalfen is an old pagan monster who lives in the woods and hangs around crossroads. Like I said, he did come into our folklore when the Christian church kind of took the story. So he is considered the devil or Satan in Christianity, instead of being a temporary servant for your desire. It morphed into the permanent selling of your soul, and witches in Germany are also to be called the man or the gentleman at the crossroads. So their tradition in Germany is to crack whips at the intersections on Walpurgis night to scare away witches or demons from crossing the intersection and coming into our world. It appears that how benevolent or malevolent ghostly horses are also known to be, excuse me, ladies, at the crossroads, depending on which European country you live in. So the first story that actually popped up with the man at the crossroads is called Frost. He was a highly respected man that was dissatisfied with his life, which made him to make a deal with a gentleman at the crossroads. Hi, Jody. Exchanging his soul for unlimited knowledge and word. I am so sorry, ladies. I'm tongue-tied because of how excited I am, okay? My bad. He is known for, again, exchanging unlimited knowledge and worldly pleasures. The Frost legend has been on the basis for many literature wise, and he has been reinterpreted through the ages. So how it came into our world is it actually started in Mississippi. The story has many names, along with the Delta legend, the deal with the devil, and the deal at the crossroads, among others. Yet each story tells a similar, like a similar line, a similar, what's the word I'm looking for? A similar backstory. So a lot of the times it is told that Satan himself at the intersection will be at two highways, the crossroads. In exchange for the mastery of instruments for a musician or anything that your heart desires, the man at the crossroads will basically give it to you. And this is why I wanted to incorporate him in this month's lives, because they are all about the deals. So is he. So, just a little bit of the Mississippi legend, or the folklore behind him, was a magician, or not a magician, a musician, happened to be walking with his guitar, through the crossroads. Hi, Monica. And he actually sold his soul into becoming a better musician and becoming famous. And so that's what the man at the crossroads did. He tuned his guitar and he sent him on his way, and he ended up dying because he traded his soul for fame and money. So that's just one of the folklores. So first, of course, because this crossroads demon was one of the earliest documented supernatural beings in urban America, that is also why I wanted to go over him. Because we're going over, you know, how you can see him, how you can't, stuff like that. So, he, like I said, comes from the liminal world. Throughout history, people gave them the name that made sense to them within their context and limited understandings. That is why he is known now today by the gentleman at the crossroads. Documentation before the modern era comes through stories and hearsay, but this one benefit that people study of lore have other areas of myth about him. Description is drawn from a cross-section of mythology: a slender man, often dark in hair and eyes. He is cordial, courteous, gracious, immaculately dressed, and always well-spoken. The folkloric canon consistently mandates that the gentleman waits at the crossroads at midnight, in the dark of the moon or the full. In fact, moon phases has nothing to do with him, but the crossroads themselves are important. And, you know, going back to the Ellis Island that I was talking about previously, he was seen, or the story was told, from 1902 to 1914, the peak of the demon at the crossroads story began, during which time thousands of people per day were processed through its halls. So there was always a crossroads in order for people to move into America or things like that. So they say that his presence lasted. Hi, Ashley. They say that his presence lasted at least until the 1950s. Through documented sightings, fell sharply after the end of World War I. So, moreover, the influential crossroads are more powerful than its gentleman can draw upon. So, if it's a three-way, you know, he can have power. But if it's a four-way, that's when he's most powerful. Another thing about the crossroads, which I found really interesting when I was learning about him when I first started practicing, was if it's a 3-way crossroad, it's to represent a male. If it's a 4-way crossroads, it's female. Because that's where most of the portals open up and demons and fae and all that come out. Which I found was really interesting. So, some creatures also draw upon the ley lines or other sources, and we know that in the people the gentlemen approach, there is always an element of desperation. That too is in the historical documentation, if you're interested, for whose pre-industrial era would go to a crossroads at midnight, except those who had been driven to the very limits of their ability to endure. Upon meeting with the gentleman at the crossroads, the gentleman would greet them politely and make idle conversation with them. He would also determine what would be troubling the most, and normally this is what I found in a lot of the stories and things. He'll ask, what are you willing to do to make all this go away? What are you willing to give up in exchange for your heart's desire? So, like I said, a lot of the time it would be heartbreak, or it would be trying to survive, or it would be, basic things that we have now. So, I am sorry, my notes are everywhere. So, he normally pops up at a place between places, a stop on a journey, or somewhere else, thousands of people passing through every day. A sense of dread or desperation is where he draws his most power, or he'll draw his power from asking weary or worried travelers. And those questions can be, something terrible is happening, are you going to make it home in time, or what would you give for that? So a lot of merchants and things would normally make deals with him as well. But for whatever reason, they wouldn't do it and they'd move along. Too much light at all hours of the day can draw him away, or too few corners for a private conversation. Another way to repel him is to wear iron. And this is another reason why I chose him for the life. On the road, the gentleman can be found at truck stops or in rural gas stations and in state welcome centers. Their once immaculate clothes are now faded and ill-fitting. Yes, that's the one that I was talking about, Jody. Thank you, love. So, a lot of the times it is because he no longer makes that many deals, thanks to modern era and us being paranoid all the time. Instead of a nice tuxedo that he would be depicted in, he is now, his clothes are all faded, they don't fit, he kind of looks raggedy. And in the cities where they are found, normally on street corners, he'll most likely disguise himself as somebody who is bundled in old sweaters and threadbare winter jackets, dull-eyed and hungry and crammed in too close together to thrive. But if you talk with him, he will still ask, who are you? What is it that you want? And what will you give to get it? So, like I said, be careful what you wish for, and be careful how you answer. And that also happens to be with the Fae as well, especially with making deals. You know, you need to make sure that you know what you're looking for, you know what you're asking, and you know exactly how to answer. Now, I'm not saying all fairies are like that, but when it comes to the hierarchy and things like that, you definitely want to be, like, stupid specific on it. That is all I have for the Man at the Crossroads. I found it really, really interesting that it actually all started in Germany and then made its way here. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. I know this is a short live, and I do apologize, ladies. I've just had a lot of crazy things going on and planning, so but I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes. If you guys have any questions, I will gladly answer them. And if you don't, then I will go ahead and hop off. So, any questions? Any comments? Concerns? Was there anything that you found interesting? And before I forget, this is a book that briefly talks about him. Doesn't talk about him too much, but it does have a little bit of information on him. Like I said, he originated in Germany as the Dolphin. This is normally what he would look like at the crossroads if you were 1901 to 1952. That's what he would look like, but like I said, now he depicts himself as a homeless man shriveling in a corner. So be careful out there. Thanks, Jody. But if nobody has any other questions, I'm going to hop off. And again, I do apologize for it being a short live. I've had a crazy week. If you have any questions, just comment them down below and I will gladly answer them. Don't be afraid, I don't bite. At least not too hard. But that's all I have for you ladies, so please enjoy your evening and blessed be.